What can I tell you guys? Former President Donald Trump is hitting it out of the park in the courtroom while President Biden is basically paving the way for him with all of his recent missteps and tanking polls. Ex-Trump Organization controller Jeffrey McConney is the 10th witness in our former president's criminal trial, aka the New York hush money trial. And you know what McConney said on the stand? That Donald Trump did not direct him on Cohen repayments. Now, this is coming from a witness from the prosecution side, meaning Manhattan DA Alvin Bragg basically just got toasted by his own witness. I mean, not exactly surprising like how their star witness is Michael Cohen, former Trump lawyer and serial perjurer. And get this, guys, apparently Michael Cohen has been cashing in on the ex-president's hush money trial by discussing the case on nightly TikTok live streams. One of his lines to his 291,000 followers, Trump 2024? More like Trump 20 to 40 years. ABC News contributor and former Georgia prosecutor Chris Timmons described how Alvin Bragg must have felt when he heard about Cohen's late night TikTok hustle. He said he'd be furious. Now, according to Timmons, as a prosecutor, the last thing that you want your witness to do is to be talking about the case in a forum other than the courtroom. Now, again, guys, this is the star witness of the prosecution that we're talking about here. Now, I'm telling you guys, former President Donald Trump must be feeling pretty confident right about now. As he said when he left the courtroom recently, he's ready to go up against whatever they throw at him. In fact, he even suggested that he's willing to go to jail to keep railing against this case. He complained about the gag order that bars him from talking about jurors, witnesses, and some others connected to the trial, telling reporters that he has to watch every word that he tells people because the judge has given him a gag order and said that Donald Trump will go to jail if he violates it. But according to Trump, you know what? Our Constitution is much more important than jail. It's not even close. So he'll do that to sacrifice any day. And so now, while Trump is on the up and up, President Biden's standing seems to be getting worse by the day. According to his critics, it's because so few people think that he's doing a good job that he's in a perilous state. Even Senator Bernie Sanders is warning that the chaos and protests that are happening in many school campuses right now may doom Biden in November. Now, Bernie Sanders, he even said that this may be Biden's Vietnam, and the president doesn't seem to be making anybody happy as reports say that Biden's administration, their officials are holding up shipments of precious bombs to Israel to send a message about the Jewish state's ongoing war against Hamas in the Gaza Strip. According to House Speaker Mike Johnson, just when we thought it was only university presidents who are caving into the absurd demands of the pro-Hamas students, the president himself has now reportedly halted ammunition shipments to Israel. Now, on immigration, Representative Nancy Mace railed against Biden's decision to extend Obamacare eligibility to illegal immigrants. According to Mace, this rule to give taxpayers subsidized health care to 100,000 illegal aliens is yet again another example of this administration putting America last and actively incentivizing illegal immigration. So what's happening with this tale of two presidents? We're going to find out in today's video, so I hope you guys are ready. We're going to go ahead and dive right in. So Curtin University's Dean of Global Futures, Joe Siracosa, is calling it, you guys, Donald Trump is going to be the 47th president of the United States. Check it out.
Well, Pete, I've been looking at the polls overnight, and Pete, I'm feeling lucky. I want to call the election 6 months out, okay?
Okay.
And then I'm going to tell you why. Donald Trump is going to be the 47th president of the United States. There's not much we can do, not much that Biden can do about it. 57% of Americans disapprove of Joe Biden. Donald Trump is ahead of Biden by 17 points in terms of the economy, inflation, law and order, and especially immigration. There are only 2 areas out of 20 where Biden is ahead of President Trump, and that's in the area of reproductive rights and health services. But Trump has beaten the Biden on all accounts, and I think the final coup de grace comes from Bernie Sanders when he raised his troops again, or roused his troops again by identifying Biden's support for the war in Gaza as illegal and immoral. And keep in mind, 45% of Americans aren't even going to go to the polls. They don't. We only get about 55 to 60% of participation. And right now, a number of polls say that President Trump's ahead by 2%. Okay. But look, he's ahead by 10%. In all the swing states, center states. So I'm going to predict
Now you heard him, guys. Donald Trump is likely to be the next US president, and there's not a whole lot that Joe Biden can do about it. By the way, this was from an Australian news channel, so it's definitely looking like the world needs Trump to win. And that's exactly what he's doing. It seems like in the courtroom with the New York hush money trial, ex-Trump Organization controller Jeffrey McConney was the latest witness in this prosecution, aka DA Alvin Bragg's side. So overall, he's the 10th witness on our former president's criminal trial. And it looks like things are not going well for Bragg because according to McConney, former President Donald Trump did not personally direct him to set up reimbursement payments to former Trump attorney Michael Cohen. Trump is in Manhattan for the 4th week of a trial, which he faces 34 counts of falsifying business records. The New York versus Trump case focuses on Trump's former attorney, Michael Cohen, paying former adult film star Stormy Daniels $130,000 to allegedly quiet her claims of an alleged extramarital affair that she had with the then real estate tycoon in 2006. Now, Donald Trump has denied having an affair with Stormy Daniels. Prosecutors allege that the Trump Organization reimbursed Michael Cohen and fraudulently logged the payments as legal expenses. They're also working to prove that Trump falsified records with the intent to commit or conceal a second crime, which is a felony. But McConney, who served as the Trump Organization's controller for more than 2 decades, testified that he was directed by former Trump Organization Chief Financial Officer Alan Weiselberg to reimburse Cohen with $35,000 per month payments, with the last being sent to Cohen in December of 2017. But McConney's testimony ended up bolstering Donald Trump's team defense, with McConney outlining that Trump did not have an active role in the reimbursements to Cohen. When asked about whether Weiselberg suggested that Donald Trump had told him these things, McConney replied that Allen never told him that. McConney is the prosecution team's 10th witness since the trial began in mid-April. The week before, the court heard from Keith Davidson, an attorney who was once represented by Stormy Daniels, and former Playboy model Karen McDougal. Computer forensic scientist for the DA's office Doug Doss, bank executive Gary Farrow, and Hope Hicks, who worked for the Trump Organization and later served as Trump's press secretary during the 2016 presidential campaign. Each and every time, Trump's team came out on top. Even the prosecution's top witness, Michael Cohen, didn't do Alvin Bragg any favors, as he's been considered by a judge as a serial perjurer. Not to mention, he was cashing in on the trial in his late-night TikTok rants. Donald Trump himself has railed against the cases as a scam promoted by the Biden administration ahead of the 2024 election. More on that later, guys. Now, if you're finding this analysis intriguing and you want to stay on top of every twist and turn of this political showdown, be sure to give this video a thumbs up and also hit that subscribe button. It really helps us out, and it make sure that you won't miss out on any of our upcoming videos when we continue to unravel the whole real state of America. All right, so let's get back to it and let's see what else is unfolding in this dramatic political saga. All right, so yeah, we got Michael Cohen, the once loyal lawyer of former President Donald Trump. Apparently, he's been cashing in on the ex-president's hush money trial by discussing the case on nightly TikTok live streams. Talk about a side hustle, huh? Something that legal experts warn could spoil his credibility as a key witness, besides the fact that he's been known or labeled as a serial perjurer. Now, ahead of taking the witness stand, Michael Cohen earned money through donations made by viewers of his nightly live streams, during which he discussed Donald Trump, the ongoing trial, and of course the testimony. To his 291,000 followers during one of his live streams, Cohen said, "Trump 2024? More like Trump 20 to 40 years." Technically, Michael Cohen's actions don't go against any court order, but they do definitely hurt his credibility as an essential witness in this case. As ABC News contributor and former Georgia prosecutor Chris Timmons put it, he'd be furious. As a prosecutor, the last thing that you want is your witness to be talking about the case in a forum other than the courtroom. Jeremy Saland, a defense attorney who used to work in the Manhattan District Attorney's office, which is now bringing the case, also said that Cohen's bizarre behavior will likely only benefit Trump. He imagined Team Trump scrutinizing and listening and watching whatever they can, and they are rightfully going to weaponize it in a court of law to tear down his credibility. The prosecution probably finally got a hold of him, as Cohen later wrote on social media that he would cease posting anything about Trump until after he takes the stand. Then he added that he'll see his followers in a month or more. Now again, guys, Alvin Bragg's star witness right there. It just goes to show the quality of this case that they're trying to pin on former President Trump. You know what I mean? When leaving the courthouse in one of the recent recent sessions, Trump complained about the gag order that bars him from talking about jurors, witnesses, and some others connected to the trial, saying that he has to watch every word because he could go to jail from Judge Juan Merchan's gag order. But for Trump, he says that our Constitution is much more important than jail. And this is why he's willing to make the sacrifice any day. In fact, he called the whole case and the fact that it could last another 2 or 3 weeks election interference. Now, according to Donald Trump, this case should already have been over. This case should never have been brought. He says that they all want to just keep him off the campaign trail. That's their goal. Now, as for Trump supporters, they're just praying to get their president back. Now, compare that to our current president, Joe Biden. His problem, according to critics, his presidency is an utter failure. For starters, President Joe Biden's approval ratings have already taken a hit, and it's largely because of the fact that a lot of people don't like the job that he's doing. Honestly, it's looking pretty bleak for him. I mean, let's not sugarcoat how bad the poll numbers are these days. No president wants to see themselves at 43% in the polls when they're up for re-election, but that's exactly where Biden finds himself. 43% across several major polls like CNN, Morning Consult, Economist, YouGov, Harvard, Harris. I mean, you see the pattern, right? There's no hiding it. His polling is at a crisis level. Normally, a president's chances of getting reelected closely follows their job approval ratings. And with Biden's job approval hovering around 40% in the Real Clear Politics average and slightly lower in the 538 average, things are not looking good. Even more telling is that he's trailing behind Donald Trump in polls asking who was or is a more successful president. According to CNN, 55% see Trump's presidency as a success compared to Biden's 39%. And that's not looking good for someone who's hoping to win another term. And keep in mind, this is coming from CNN. I mean, being labeled a failed president really doesn't exactly inspire confidence for re-election. And it sure doesn't help that the economy is dragging him down. His numbers there, they're in the tank. CNN has his approval on the economy sitting at 34% and inflation at 29%. The Economist YouGov poll found the same thing. 39% approval on the economy, 29% on prices. I mean, sure, Donald Trump's legal issues do give Biden some ammunition. However, many voters may find the economic issues more pressing than Donald Trump's past legal entanglements. Are more people really going to care that Donald Trump has been convicted of felonious bookkeeping related to a payment to a porn star 8 years ago, or that they think he can do a better job handling inflation? Plus, besides poor job performance and economic handling, people really don't warm up to Biden personally. They don't think he's a strong leader, and they don't think that he's fit to be president. At the end of the day, the biggest hurdle for Biden is how he's perceived in his role. The most straightforward way for him to boost his re-election odds in November would be to show that he can be an effective president. Although expecting a dramatic turnaround might be a little bit much at this point in his presidency. A lot of folks are saying that they can't wait to get Biden out and get President Trump back that cares about our country and its citizens. Senator Bernie Sanders warns that the protests happening in university campuses around the country could spell doom for Biden in November. Basically, people are unhappy with Biden's approach to the Israel-Hamas war. In fact, some compare and say that the discontent with Biden over Israel is louder than the complaints about Gore in 2000 or Clinton in 2016. Sanders says trouble isn't limited to the campuses. The veteran lawmaker says that President Biden is putting himself in a position where he alienated not just young people, but a lot of the Democratic base in terms of his views on Israel and this war. And Biden's latest move to hit pause on shipments of precious bombs to Israel definitely did not earn him any friends. As House Speaker Mike Johnson put it, if this is true, and it looks to be true, President Joe Biden is clearly trying to placate the pro-Hamas element of his party. This is not the will of Congress, as last month Congress passed a $26.3 billion package for both military aid to Israel and humanitarian assistance for the Palestinians. Then there's the recent rule announced by the Biden administration that would make tens of thousands of illegal immigrants eligible for Obamacare. Representative Nancy Mace from South Carolina she's trying to stop it with a resolution of disapproval in the House. Basically, the administration announced that those enrolled under the Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals, or the DACA program, will be allowed to access Obamacare through healthcare.gov and state-based marketplaces. They predict that this will result in over 100,000 uninsured illegal immigrants accessing health insurance. According to Mace's official statement, Joe Biden, border czar Kamala Harris, and impeached DHS Secretary Mayorkas flung our borders wide open. Cohen, caused an invasion of our country by illegal aliens, and prioritized giving taxpayer benefits to illegal aliens over American citizens. She added that this rule to give taxpayers subsidized healthcare to 100,000 illegal aliens is yet another example of this administration putting America last and actively incentivizing illegal immigration. So now she's calling on Congress to stand up and put a stop to this madness. My question is, will it be Congress that puts a stop to what Biden is doing, or will the American people take things in their own hands come November? Drop your thoughts in the comment section down below, guys. Like I'm telling you, this could very well be the most important election of our lives. So let's make sure you're updated every single minute. You know we got to be vigilant these days, right? Make sure you're always tuned in. Hit the subscribe button now, and I'll see you guys in the next one.